It's been more than a decade since most North Country voters got to choose a candidate for an open congressional seat. With Elise Stefanik stepping away from politics at the end of her term, it was a big day yesterday. Republicans and Democrats ran to take her place. We have results, what it means for November, and we hear from voters and what kind of change they're voting for. The congressional primaries on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Long Run Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor in Lake Placid, providing comprehensive wealth management, retirement, and financial planning solutions. LongRunWealth.com. And the Devlin Inn and Suites, Lake Placid, welcoming families, athletes, and groups to the Olympic Village, offering Adirondack mountain views and dog-friendly accommodations. TheDevlinNY.com.
Hey, I'm David Summerstein. It's Wednesday, June 24th. First, the results. On the GOP side, Sticker Mule CEO Anthony Constantino cruised over Assemblyman Robert Smullen with almost 60% of the vote. And dairy farmer Blake Gendebien crushed fellow Democrat Stuart Amaral by more than 30 points. Kara Chapman has our story.
Victory? Can we declare victory? All right.
Sticker Mule CEO Anthony Constantino gave a long speech to supporters at a venue on Great Sacandaga Lake Tuesday night. He thanked a lot of people, including his primary opponent.
If I just got anointed, I wouldn't have learned anything. And thank you to Robert Smullen. Thanks to Robert Smullen and everybody that fought against me. I learned a lot. I became a much better fighter, and that's what we want going into this general election.
The Republican primary between Constantino and Assemblyman Robert Smullen was a vicious one. The two men spent months attacking each other via websites, ads, social media, and their one and only debate last month. Constantino even got kicked out of a St. Lawrence County GOP event following a verbal dispute with Smullen. Smullen was endorsed by 12 of the 15 county Republican committees in the district, dozens of elected officials, and the state GOP and conservative parties. But President Donald Trump endorsed Constantino, who painted himself as the outsider in the race. He still faces a defamation lawsuit from the chair of the state Conservative Party and has said that if elected, he'd have to, quote, clean out the Republican committees because they are losers. Tuesday night, he called for unity.
We have to come together and unify all Republicans, all conservatives, and all sensible people, period, who want a better future.
But it remains to be seen whether Constantino will be the only Republican on the ballot in November. Smullen is the Conservative Party nominee and has called Constantino unfit for office. Speaking to reporters after he conceded, Smullen said he'll assess in the coming days whether he'll keep that ballot line for the general election.
Well, it's just very important that we get this right. People have been very good to me. I am grateful to all of the supporters in the Republican and the Conservative parties in this district, all 15 counties. So I want to make sure that the path forward is very clearly defined, and we'll do that in the coming days.
It's a different story for Democrats, where St. Lawrence County farmer Blake Gendebien prevailed over Lake Placid businessman Stuart Amaral. Gendebien, who Democrats would have run in last year's special election that wasn't, was considered the party favorite. In a statement, Amaral called on his supporters to rally behind Gendebien, quote, not because politics demands it, but because the future we want demands it. In his victory speech at Davidson Brothers Brew Pub in Glens Falls, Gendebien said his campaign is for everyone who thinks upstate New York deserves better.
It's for the senior in Plattsburgh rationing her medication because she can't afford the copay. It's for the veteran coming home to the Adirondacks who can't find a doctor. It's for the family in Fort Edward sitting around the kitchen table trying to figure out how to pay their bills when everything keeps getting more expensive.
Gendebien also threw a jab at his Republican opponent, Constantino.
They can choose another self-serving wannabe DC insider who thinks millions of dollars can buy a seat in Congress. Someone who has always put his own interests first. Just ask the workers that he replaced with robots. Or they can choose a farmer. Someone who has spent his life working here, raising a family here, and fighting for our community.
Constantino also took aim at Gendebien.
Let's be honest, Blake doesn't know why he's running. All he knows is a bunch of consultants found him in upstate New York, and they said, you got the look. We're going to run you. And he said, what does that mean? He said, they said, it means we're going to give you a big pile of money, a few $1 million, and you get to run for Congress. And he said, what does that mean? I guess it means he's running against Anthony Constantino. I don't think he knows what that means either.
Constantino's victory in the Republican primary brought a notable voice out of the woodwork. Incumbent Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, who declined to endorse either Republican candidate ahead of the primary, congratulated Constantino in a social media post. She said he'll, quote, put the people first and will be a strong representative in Washington for the incredible, hardworking families in our great district. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.
During the primary elections yesterday, our reporters fanned out across the region to ask voters what changes they hope to see in the 21st Congressional District and the issues they're most concerned about. Emily Russell gathered that all together and has this story.
Abigail Walco walked out of her polling place in Saranac Lake on Tuesday with a big grin across her face. Primary day was pretty special for the high school senior.
My 18th birthday was yesterday, so my parents were really excited because, how many times do you turn 18 and have an election right after your birthday?
Walco is a registered Democrat. She sees voting as a way to show support for the issues she cares about, including climate change and women's reproductive rights.
The whole abortion conversation has been a big part of my life, just being a woman growing up and, moving into a world where, don't really know what's going to be impacting me, but I know that, abortion right is going to be something that's impacting me. So my main focus has been on that.
For many other voters, the economy was top of mind as they cast their ballots in the primary. John Davison and Rachel Dion are both Republicans. Dion is from Briar Hill, and Davison is from Ogdensburg in St. Lawrence County.
We just can't afford to live here out here with the Democrats in charge.
Same thing. I'm voting red, straight across.
Davison and Dion blame the high prices on Democratic leadership in Albany and Governor Kathy Hochul. But for Edmund Barr, a Democrat from Ogdensburg, he says the blame lies with President Donald Trump.
Gas prices are coming down, but not much else is coming with it. Groceries have been unbelievable, and if you're on a fixed income like I am, it's been hard to make ends meet.
Barr says he's lucky he has a pension to keep him afloat in this economy. For LeGrand Gepner, his top concern is also affordability, but specifically for veterans like himself. Gepner is a Democrat from Morrisonville, just west of Plattsburgh.
There's a lot of issues I'm looking for, but I'm trying to figure out how we can get the economy back where it's safe for VAs and everybody else and all disabled veterans.
Veterans make up about 7.5% of the North Country's population, which is more than twice the statewide average. John Rock, a Republican from Schuyler Falls in Clinton County, says support for veterans and senior citizens is his top priority on primary day.
The veterans and the seniors are in dire need of help. Not only in this little area, but all across the country.
Rock says a candidate with a military background is important to him. That's what informed his vote in the Republican primary for the 21st Congressional District.
I'm not afraid to say it. I voted for Robert Smullen. Number one, he's a veteran. Number two, he's a patriot. And we need more of that in this country.
The Republican primary pitted Smullen, a state assemblyman, against Anthony Constantino, a political newcomer and business owner. Brian Merriam is a Republican from Tupper Lake who says Constantino's experience running Sticker Mule is what sold him.
Mr. Constantino seems to understand that running a business is very difficult, and he has apparently been quite successful at it from all that I can see in an area that's pretty depressed economically, and he's done a pretty good job.
On the Democratic side, voters were choosing between Lake Placid restaurant owner Stuart Amaral and St. Lawrence County dairy farmer Blake Gendebien. David Diggert is a Democrat from the St. Lawrence County town of Russell. He cast his ballot on Tuesday for Gendebien.
He's a regular fella, and he knows what it's like to work hard, pay his bills, and I think with either of the Republicans, we all lose.
Now that the primaries are over, candidates for the top races will ramp up their campaigns ahead of the November midterms, which are less than 5 months away. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio.
We have all the election news you can use at ncpr.org/election. Music today by B. Children of Canton and Evan Veenstra of Gananoque, Ontario. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.